A billionaire's daughter who has everything: power, wealth, a massive company ruling the city, but she's starving for one thing money can't buy: true love. Then a poor, mysterious stranger keeps popping into her life, turning her world upside down. But just when she starts to trust him, a shocking betrayal threatens to tear them apart forever. What happens next will leave you breathless. Welcome to Real Life Echo, where we bring you heart-pounding stories inspired by real emotions. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button right now and like this video to show some love. It helps us keep these tales coming. Now let's dive into the story of Iris and Raphael. Iris was a billionaire's daughter who had everything in the world: power, wealth, and a company that ruled the city. But there was one thing money could never give her: true love. Every man who came into her life only wanted her father's fortune until one quiet stranger kept appearing in her world again and again. He was poor, calm, and strangely different from everyone she had ever met. But just when fate began bringing them closer, what she didn't know was that the night she sent him away would become the night she needed him the most. The glass shattered against the marble floor. Iris did not even flinch. The sound echoed across the enormous living room of the mansion, the kind of echo only houses built with too much money could produce. The broken champagne glass lay in glittering pieces at her feet like a small funeral. Across the room a man was sweating. Just minutes earlier he had been smiling, calling her baby, planning their wedding. Now his phone lay in her hand, and the messages on the screen told the truth he never intended her to see. Just marry her. Her father owns half the city. After the wedding we can control the company. You'll never have to work again. Iris slowly looked up. Her eyes were calm. Too calm. Say something, the man said, his voice shaking. She tilted her head slightly. So she said quietly. The love was fake. I can explain. No, just one word. Cold, sharp, final. The man stepped forward desperately. Iris, listen. You're misunderstanding. Her hand lifted slowly. He froze. Security, she said softly. 2 guards appeared within seconds. The man panicked. Iris, please, I love you. She stared at him like she was looking through glass. You love my father's money. The guards dragged him toward the door as he shouted her name. The massive doors closed. Silence returned. Iris stood there for a long moment. Then she laughed. Not happily, not sadly, just a hollow laugh that belonged to someone who had already lost faith in the world. Of course, she whispered. Everyone wanted something. Her friends wanted status. Her partners wanted influence. Her lovers wanted wealth. Nobody ever wanted her. Across the mansion, a soft cough echoed from the hallway. Iris turned immediately. Her father stood there, leaning weakly on a cane. Once he had been a giant in the business world, a man whose decisions moved millions. Now illness had hollowed his body, leaving only sharp eyes and quiet strength behind. He had heard everything. He walked slowly into the room. I told you, he said calmly. Iris sighed and rubbed her temple. Yes, yes, you did. He stopped beside her. In business, people respect power, he continued. In love, people smell opportunity. His voice carried the weight of experience. Your mother was the only honest love I ever knew. A shadow crossed his face. She died. The world remained. Iris looked away. Her father placed a gentle hand on her shoulder. You will inherit everything soon, he said quietly. Companies, investments, properties, thousands of employees. He looked directly into her eyes. But love. He shook his head slowly. Love is a luxury people like us cannot afford. The words sank into her like stone, and for the first time in years Iris did not argue. That night, she sat alone on the balcony of the mansion. The city lights shimmered like distant stars beneath her. She held a glass of wine and whispered to the wind, no more love. Her voice was calm, certain. No more trust. The wind carried the promise into the darkness. The next evening, after a long day at the company headquarters, Iris walked into a quiet bar downtown. Not a flashy one. Just a small, calm place where powerful people could sit unnoticed. The bartender nodded respectfully. Good evening, Miss Iris. Just water tonight, she said. She took a seat at the corner table. A waiter approached. He moved calmly, not hurried like most servers around wealthy customers. His voice was gentle. What would you like to order, ma'am? Iris barely looked up from her phone. Nothing. A small pause followed. Then the man simply nodded. Understood. He placed the glass of water carefully in front of her. His movements were precise, quiet, almost graceful. For a moment, Iris glanced up. The waiter was tall, broad shoulders, dark hair, slightly messy. His expression carried a calm warmth that felt strangely steady, not nervous, not impressed, just normal. Most men looked at her like she was a golden ticket. This man simply smiled politely. "Let me know if you need anything." Then he walked away. Iris blinked. That was unusual. She pushed the thought away immediately. It meant nothing, just another stranger in a city of millions. But fate had a quiet sense of humor because that waiter's name was Raphael. And before the week ended, their lives would collide again and again and again until the woman who had sworn never to love again would find her heart fighting a battle she never expected. 2 days later, Iris stood inside one of her company's warehouses on the edge of the city. The air smelled of dust and machine oil. Workers moved boxes back and forth while forklifts hummed in the background. It was the kind of place most billionaires never visited. But Iris was not most billionaires. If something belonged to her company, she inspected it herself. Her assistant hurried beside her, flipping through a tablet. "Ma'am, the new shipment arrived this morning. The cleaning team is already working inside." Iris nodded. "Good. I want this place spotless before the investors visit next week." They walked deeper into the warehouse. At the far end of the building, someone was mopping the floor slowly, pushing the long mop across the concrete with calm patience. Iris stopped walking. Her eyes narrowed slightly. Something about the man felt familiar. The cleaner straightened his back and turned. And there it was, that same calm face, those same steady eyes. Raphael. For a brief second he looked surprised. Then he smiled politely, the same gentle smile she remembered from the bar. "Good morning, ma'am." Iris stared at him. Of all the people in this city, why him again? Her assistant whispered quietly. "Should I ask them to clear the area?" "No," Iris said. Her voice was flat. She walked past him without another word. Raphael simply continued cleaning. No awkwardness, no excitement, no attempt to impress her, just work. And somehow that annoyed her. Most people would have tried to start a conversation. Most men would have used the opportunity to flatter her, but Raphael didn't. He just mopped the floor like she was just another person. Strange man. Iris pushed the thought aside and continued inspecting the warehouse. 30 minutes later, she walked out of the building and stepped toward her black luxury car waiting outside. Her assistant suddenly frowned. "Ma'am, there's something on your car." Iris looked. Brown muddy stains covered the door and tires. Her eyebrows tightened. "How did that happen?" "No idea, ma'am." Iris sighed tiredly. "Call someone to wash it." Her assistant nodded quickly and made the call. 15 minutes later, a small van pulled into the lot. A man stepped out carrying cleaning equipment. He walked toward the car. Iris looked up, then froze. Her assistant blinked again. Standing beside the car with a hose in his hand was Raphael. He looked just as calm as before. He gave a small, respectful nod. "Good afternoon." Iris stared at him like the universe was playing a prank on her. First the bar, then the warehouse, now the car wash. 3 meetings in 1 week. "Do you follow all your customers this closely?" she asked dryly. Raphael chuckled softly. "No, ma'am." He began spraying the car with water. "Just doing the jobs I get." His tone was relaxed, natural, like he had nothing to prove. Iris leaned against the car slightly, folding her arms. She watched him work. Raphael moved with quiet focus. The way he washed the car was careful, almost respectful, like he believed every job deserved his best effort. He scrubbed the mud away slowly. Water droplets sparkled in the sunlight as they rolled down the black paint. After a moment he stepped back and wiped his hands. All done. The car looked brand new again. Iris looked at it, then back at him. "You do a lot of different jobs." Raphael shrugged slightly. "Whatever keeps life moving." That answer was simple, but it carried something deeper, something real. For a moment, Iris felt curious, but curiosity was dangerous. She straightened immediately. "Send the bill to my assistant." "Yes, ma'am." He packed his equipment back into the van. No lingering, no awkward small talk, just a polite nod before leaving. Iris watched the van disappear down the road. Her assistant looked at her with a strange smile. "That's the same guy from the warehouse." "I noticed." "And the bar." "Yes." A small silence followed. Her assistant grinned. "Maybe it's fate." Iris rolled her eyes. "There is no such thing." She opened the car door and stepped inside. But as the car drove away, she glanced once more through the rear window. The empty road stretched behind them. Yet somehow a small thought stayed in her mind. Why did that man keep appearing everywhere she went? And why did his quiet smile feel oddly difficult to forget? For the first time in weeks, Iris wanted silence. No meetings, no board members arguing across polished tables, no reporters outside the company gates flashing cameras like lightning, just quiet. Late that afternoon, she drove herself across the city to her private house, a hidden property only a few people even knew existed. Unlike her massive main mansion, this place was different. Smaller, peaceful. Tall glass walls overlooked a quiet garden where the wind gently moved through the trees. It was the only place in the world where Iris could breathe without feeling the weight of her empire sitting on her shoulders. She parked the car and stepped inside. The house welcomed her with stillness. No staff, no assistants, no noise. Exactly what she wanted. Iris dropped her handbag on the kitchen counter and walked slowly through the house, enjoying the rare moment of solitude. But when she opened the refrigerator, her face froze. Empty. She opened the pantry, also empty. She sighed deeply. Perfect. In her rush to escape the city earlier that day, she had forgotten the obvious. This house had no supplies at all. No food, no snacks, not even bottled water. Iris pulled out her phone and quickly placed an online order for groceries and household supplies. Rice, chicken, vegetables, cooking oil, basic kitchen things. The delivery confirmation arrived almost immediately. She placed the phone down and opened her laptop at the dining table, already diving back into work while waiting. About 30 minutes later, ding dong. The doorbell echoed softly through the quiet house. Without even checking the door camera, Iris walked to the entrance and opened it halfway before turning back toward the kitchen. Just take everything to the kitchen, she said casually. Behind her, a delivery man stepped inside carrying 2 large supply boxes. He wore a black delivery jacket and a motorcycle helmet that completely hid his face. He paused for half a second when he saw her. Iris. Even with her back turned, he recognized her instantly, but the helmet stayed on, so she did not recognize him. Raphael quietly carried the boxes into the kitchen. His heart beat slightly faster than usual. Of all the houses in the city, this delivery had brought him here to her house. He placed the boxes gently on the counter. Iris sat at the dining table, scrolling through emails on her laptop. She barely looked up. Just leave them there. Yes, ma'am, Raphael replied softly. His voice was slightly deeper than usual, just enough that she wouldn't recognize it. He turned toward the door to leave, then suddenly click. The door lock snapped loudly. Raphael tried the handle. It didn't move. He tried again. Nothing. Iris frowned without looking up. What's wrong? Raphael pulled the handle once more, still locked. The smart security door had jammed. He turned slowly. The door isn't opening now. Iris looked up. What do you mean it's not opening? She stood and walked toward the door. Raphael stepped aside. She tried the handle. Nothing. Again. Nothing. Iris sighed in frustration. This stupid door does this sometimes. She tapped the control panel beside it, still locked. Raphael gently pushed the door. It didn't budge. I could try forcing it open, he said. Iris immediately shook her head. No. Do you know how much that door cost? He stopped instantly. Sorry. She grabbed her phone and dialed someone. Hello. Yes, the door locked again. Yes, the private house. Pause. How long? She rolled her eyes. 3 hours. Raphael blinked. 3 hours trapped inside together. Iris hung up. The technician will come later. She walked back toward the kitchen. When Raphael removed the helmet, Iris was very shocked. Why do you keep appearing everywhere? How on earth were you the one to deliver these groceries? Are you stalking me? She asked. Raphael replied, No, I'm not stalking you. I just don't know why this keeps happening. Raphael stood awkwardly near the door. For a moment, the house was completely silent. Then Iris suddenly sighed and rubbed her stomach. I'm hungry. She looked toward the groceries, then toward the kitchen, then back to her laptop. Cooking was not something she did, not because she couldn't, but because she never learned. Her father had always filled her life with tutors, meetings, and business training. Cooking had never been part of the schedule. Raphael noticed her hesitation. If you'd like, he said gently. I can cook something while we wait. Iris looked at him suspiciously. You cook? She stared at him for a moment, then shrugged. Fine. Raphael walked into the kitchen and began opening the grocery bags. Within minutes, the kitchen filled with quiet movement, water running, vegetables being chopped, pots heating. Iris sat at the counter with her laptop pretending to work, but her eyes kept drifting toward him. He tied an apron around his waist. The movement made her blink. He looked strangely comfortable there. Raphael hummed softly while cooking. The sound was calm, peaceful, like someone completely at ease with life. After a while, the smell of food spread through the house. Warm, delicious. Iris's stomach growled loudly. Raphael chuckled quietly. Almost ready. A few minutes later, he placed a plate in front of her. Simple food, he said. She looked down. Rice, grilled chicken, vegetables. Nothing fancy, but it smelled amazing. She took a bite. Her eyes widened slightly. This is really good. Raphael smiled shyly. Thank you. They ate quietly at first. Then Raphael glanced around the house. The design here is beautiful. Iris looked up. You like interior design? I noticed details. He pointed slightly toward the glass wall. The sunlight hits that corner perfectly in the afternoon. Whoever designed this place knew what they were doing. Iris blinked. Most people who came to her house only noticed expensive things, paintings, furniture, money, but Raphael noticed sunlight. For the first time, a small smile escaped her lips. They talked. Light conversations, little jokes. 3 hours passed faster than she expected. She found herself laughing, actually laughing, something she had not done in weeks. Finally, the doorbell rang again. The technician had arrived. Raphael stood up. Well, looks like my prison sentence is over. Iris laughed softly. He walked toward the door as the technician unlocked it. Before leaving, he turned slightly. Take care. Then he stepped outside. The door closed behind him. Silence filled the house again. Iris stood there for a moment. The kitchen still smelled like the food he cooked. The chair he had been sitting on was still slightly pulled out. Everything felt warmer somehow. That night, Iris lay in bed staring at the ceiling. She closed her eyes and without warning, she saw his smile again. Soft, gentle, calm. Iris groaned and turned over. Ridiculous, she muttered. But sleep didn't come easily because somewhere in her mind, a quiet thought kept whispering. Why did the world keep bringing that man back into her life? The house felt strangely quiet after Raphael left. Too quiet. The next morning, Iris arrived at the company headquarters earlier than usual. The massive glass building rose above the city like a monument to power. Employees rushed through the revolving doors. Phones rang, elevators chimed. The empire never slept. Her assistant hurried beside her. Good morning, ma'am. Today we're supervising the relocation of your father's office belongings to the private estate. Iris nodded. Her father had grown too weak to visit the company building anymore, so everything was being moved. Documents, old awards, antique decorations, and memories. Make sure everything is handled carefully, she said. Of course, ma'am. They walked toward the elevators. But just before the doors closed, Iris noticed someone outside the building gate. Tall, broad shoulders, moving heavy boxes with quiet strength. Raphael. Her assistant followed her gaze and smiled. That man again. Iris quickly looked away. He's probably part of the moving crew. But something stirred quietly inside her chest. Outside, the moving work began. Workers carried desks and cabinets toward the waiting trucks. Raphael moved among them silently, lifting heavy boxes as if they weighed nothing. He worked with calm focus, no complaints, no laziness, just steady effort. From her office window upstairs, Iris found herself watching him longer than necessary. She frowned slightly. Why was she even paying attention? Across the hallway, someone else had also been watching. Clever, the company secretary, sharp mind, sharper ambition, and a pride that hated competition. He had noticed something over the past week. Iris mentioning Raphael's name. Iris asking questions about him. And worst of all, yesterday he had overheard 2 staff members gossiping. They were locked inside her house together for hours. Clever's jaw tightened. Hours in her house with a worker. Then earlier that morning, Iris had said something that still burned in his ears. Raphael seems more reliable than some people in this company. She had said it casually, but Clever heard the comparison and he hated it. His eyes followed Raphael across the hallway. A poor laborer, and Iris was defending him, admiring him. Clever's lips curled slowly. That ends today. He walked quietly into Iris's father's office. The room was almost empty now. Most things had already been moved, but one thing remained locked inside the wall safe. The antique watch, a rare collector's piece worth more than most cars. Clever walked to the safe, placed his finger on the scanner. Click. The safe opened. The watch glittered under the office light. Clever picked it up slowly. His eyes gleamed. Perfect. Outside in the hallway, Raphael had placed his work bag against the wall while helping 2 men move a heavy cabinet. No one was paying attention. Clever stepped out calmly, walked past the bag, opened it, dropped the watch inside, closed it, and walked away. 5 minutes later, his voice exploded through the hallway. Wait a moment. Workers froze. Boxes stopped moving. Iris stepped out of her office. What is it? Clever looked furious. Miss Iris, your father's watch is missing. The hallway instantly filled with tension. What do you mean missing? Iris asked sharply. Workers began murmuring nervously. Clever turned toward security. We cannot allow theft in this company. His voice grew louder. Search everyone. Security officers stepped forward. Workers reluctantly opened their bags. Pockets were checked one by one. Finally they reached Raphael. He stood calmly. No problem. The officer picked up his bag, opened it, then froze. Slowly he lifted the watch. The antique gold surface gleamed under the hallway lights. Silence exploded across the room. Everyone stared. Raphael blinked in confusion. What? Clever sighed loudly, shaking his head. I'm very disappointed. Iris felt something cold slide through her chest. Raphael. Raphael stepped forward immediately. No, I didn't steal that. The security officer grabbed his arm. You'll have to come with us. I swear I didn't take it. His eyes searched Iris's face desperately. Please believe me. The hallway felt suffocating. Every employee watched. Iris stared at him. Her heart felt heavy, but logic screamed louder. The watch had been found in his bag. Miss Iris, Clever said calmly. Should we call the police? Raphael's voice cracked slightly. I didn't steal it. Iris closed her eyes for a moment. She remembered the kitchen, the food, the laughter. Then she opened her eyes again. Cold, professional. No police. Everyone looked surprised. She turned toward Raphael. But leave. Her voice was sharp. Leave this building. Raphael stared at her. Something inside him broke quietly. You think I stole it? It wasn't a question. It was a realization. Iris said nothing. The silence answered everything. Raphael slowly pulled his arm away from the guard, picked up his bag and walked toward the exit. Step by step alone. Clever folded his arms quietly, satisfied. Later that evening, the rain began to fall across the city. Iris drove alone through the dark streets. Her hands rested tightly on the steering wheel. The windshield wipers moved back and forth, but her thoughts stayed trapped in the hallway. Raphael's voice echoed in her mind. Please believe me. She shook her head. Why does this bother me so much? Lightning flashed across the sky. The road ahead stretched empty. Then suddenly her car jerked violently. The engine coughed and died. Iris frowned. What? She turned the key again. Nothing. Then she pulled the door handle. Lock. Her heart skipped. The locks wouldn't open. Outside under the flickering street light, a group of young men slowly turned toward the expensive car, watching, smiling, and for the first time that night, Iris felt fear creep slowly into her chest. The rain grew heavier. Water slid down the windshield in thick streams while the wipers struggled to keep up. The road had gone almost completely empty, the city lights glowing faintly through the storm. Inside the car, Iris gripped the steering wheel. Come on, start. She whispered. She turned the key again. The engine coughed, then died. Silence. Her chest tightened. She pulled the door handle. Locked again. Still locked. Her breath slowed. Something in the electrical system had frozen the door shut. Great. She grabbed her phone quickly. One bar of signal. She dialed her driver. The call failed. She tried her assistant. Nothing. Another manager from the company. No connection. The signal flickered. Weak. Unreliable. Then movement outside caught her attention. Across the street, under the dim yellow light of a street lamp, four young men stood around a metal drum fire, laughing, drinking. One of them suddenly pointed. Another turned. All of them looked at the luxury car. Iris felt the tension crawl slowly into her chest. One of the boys nudged his friend. They began walking closer. Her heartbeat quickened. She tried another number. Still nothing. The boys were now standing beside the car. One knocked lightly on the window. Madam. Another leaned down to peer inside. Your car's spoiled. Their smiles made her stomach twist. They weren't offering help. They were hunting opportunity. Iris lowered her gaze to the phone again. One last name remained on her call list. Raphael. Her thumb hovered above it. Her mind flashed back to the hallway. The watch. His voice. Please believe me. Her jaw tightened. I shouldn't. Outside, the knocking became harder. Madam, open now. Another boy circled the car slowly. Iris inhaled deeply, then pressed the call button. The phone rang once, twice, 3 times. Then hello. His voice calm, gentle. Raphael. Her throat tightened slightly. Raphael. A pause filled the line. Miss Iris. My car broke down. Another knock hit the window harder and the doors won't open. Raphael's voice changed immediately. Where are you? She told him the street name. He didn't hesitate. I'm coming. The call ended. Outside, the boys were getting impatient. One of them tried the door handle. Locked. Another knocked loudly. Madam, we can help you. Their laughter felt dangerous now. Rain poured harder. Every minute stretched painfully. Then suddenly headlights cut through the storm. A motorcycle roared into the street. The bike stopped sharply beside her car. The rider removed his helmet. Raphael. The boys stepped back immediately. Something in his calm stare made them uncomfortable. Problem? He asked quietly. One of them shrugged. No problem. But they slowly backed away. Raphael crouched beside the car. Iris, I'm here. He pulled a small toolkit from his bike and examined the lock panel. Rain soaked his hair. 2 minutes later, click. The door unlocked. Iris pushed it open and stepped out quickly. The cold rain hit her face instantly. Raphael stood and looked at the car. Electrical lock failure, he said. It won't move tonight. She sighed. Of course. He thought for a moment, then said gently, you can stay at my place tonight. She looked at him. You're sure? It's close. He hesitated slightly. It's not big. She glanced at the empty road and the boys watching from afar. Let's go. 10 minutes later, they stopped in front of an old apartment building. Raphael opened the door to a tiny one-room apartment. Simple, clean, a small bed, a wooden table, a little cooking corner. Iris stepped inside slowly. This is where you live. Raphael nodded. Not impressive. She shook her head. It's peaceful. Raphael moved quietly toward the kitchen. I'll make something for you to eat. The small room soon filled with the warm smell of cooking. Rice, eggs, simple food. Iris sat quietly watching him move around the tiny kitchen. For a moment she forgot the rain outside. Then suddenly the memory returned. The watch. She looked at him. Raphael? He glanced over. Yes. Her voice softened slightly. Why did you steal the watch? Raphael froze just for a second. Then he continued stirring the pan. I didn't. You say that so easily. I'm telling the truth. She crossed her arms, but the watch was in your bag. Raphael placed the food on the table. I don't know how it got there. The silence that followed felt heavy. They ate quietly. No laughter tonight, just the quiet sound of rain outside. Later, Raphael spread a blanket over the small bed. You take the bed. Iris frowned. And you? He pointed to the narrow bench by the window. I'll sleep there. You don't have to do that. It's fine. He smiled faintly. Good night, Iris. She lay on the bed, but sleep didn't come easily. Her mind kept replaying the hallway scene. The watch, the accusation, his voice. Hours later, she woke suddenly. A faint sound drifted through the room. Soft, broken. She slowly opened her eyes. Raphael sat on the bench near the window, his shoulders slightly hunched, his head lowered, and he was quietly crying. No sound, just silent tears. The humiliation of that day was still crushing him. He wiped his face quickly, trying to stop, but the memory wouldn't leave. Iris watched from the bed without moving. Her chest felt tight because even now she still didn't know if he was innocent, but the pain she saw on his face looked painfully real. Morning light slowly filled the small apartment. When Iris opened her eyes again, the room smelled of fresh food. She sat up. Raphael stood near the kitchen. Breakfast was already on the table. Warm tea, simple food. Beside the bathroom door, a bucket of warm water waited for her. Her clothes were neatly washed and carefully ironed. She looked at him. You did all this? Raphael shrugged lightly. You're a guest. Something warm stirred inside her chest. Compassion, respect, confusion. She stood slowly, then said something that surprised even herself. Raphael. Yes. She met his eyes. We're going to the office together today. He blinked. The office? Yes. Her voice was calm, but something in her expression had changed because somewhere inside Iris, a quiet doubt had begun growing. Maybe, just maybe, Raphael had been telling the truth all along. The morning city was already alive when Iris's car stopped in front of the company headquarters. Employees hurried through the glass doors as usual. But the moment Iris stepped out of the car, the lobby felt strangely quiet because she wasn't alone. Raphael walked beside her. His clothes were simple, clean, ironed, but he still looked like the same man the entire company had watched walk out in shame the day before. A few employees froze. Whispers spread instantly. Isn't that the guy who stole the watch? What is he doing here? Iris walked straight through the lobby without slowing down. Her heels struck the marble floor with confidence. Raphael walked beside her silently. Inside the elevator, he glanced at her. You're sure about this? Yes. Your employees don't seem happy. They'll survive. The elevator doors opened to the executive floor. The moment they stepped out, Clever appeared from the hallway. His eyes widened instantly. For a split second, his confident smile cracked. Miss Iris. Then he saw Raphael standing beside her. His expression hardened. What is he doing here? Iris walked calmly toward her office. He's working with me today. Clever laughed sharply. Working with you? He stepped closer, lowering his voice. Miss Iris, this man is a thief. Raphael said nothing. Iris stopped walking, then slowly turned to Clever. Her voice was quiet but heavy. Are you absolutely certain about that? Clever nodded confidently. The watch was found in his bag. Raphael finally spoke. I didn't steal it. Clever scoffed. Of course you'd say that. Iris looked between them silently. Then she said one sentence. Open the security logs. Clever blinked. What? The safe logs. Her voice stayed calm. The watch was inside my father's safe before it disappeared. Clever's throat tightened slightly. And the safe records fingerprints. Raphael looked at her in surprise. Iris turned toward the large screen inside the office. Let's see who opened it. Clever's heartbeat quickened, but he forced a smile. Of course. The screen lit up. Security data appeared. Date, time, fingerprint record. The room went quiet. The system displayed the user. Clever's name. Raphael frowned. Clever quickly spoke. I was checking the safe earlier that day. Iris nodded slowly. Yes. Then she tapped another command. A second. Record appeared. 5 minutes later, the safe opened again. Fingerprint match. Clever. Now the room felt heavier. Iris turned slowly toward him. Why did you open the safe twice? Clever's mouth moved, but no words came. Raphael's eyes narrowed slightly. Iris continued calmly. Because the second time she held up a small object, the watch. You took this. Clever stepped back. I was protecting the company. You planted it. Her voice cracked like thunder. You framed him. The office fell silent. Employees had gathered outside the glass walls, watching everything. Clever's confidence shattered. I can explain. No. Iris looked toward security. Escort Mr. Clever out of this building. 2 guards stepped forward immediately. Clever struggled. Miss Iris, you're making a mistake. But the guards dragged him toward the elevator. His shouting echoed down the hallway. Then silence returned. Raphael stood near the window. He looked at Iris slowly. You believed me? She looked down slightly. I should have believed you sooner. For a moment, neither spoke. Then Raphael smiled faintly. Well, my name is clean now. Yes. He picked up his bag. I should go. Iris blinked. Go. Yes. You just got your reputation back. That's enough. He looked at her one last time. Take care, Miss Iris. And he walked toward the door. Something inside Iris reacted instantly. Wait. Raphael stopped. She hesitated, then said quietly. Dinner. He turned slightly. What? I owe you dinner. Raphael chuckled. That sounds dangerous. What? Rich people restaurants usually scare poor people. For the first time that day, Iris laughed. A real laugh. Bright and unexpected. Well, she said, grabbing her coat. Then tonight you'll have to be brave. That night they sat across from each other in a quiet restaurant. Soft music filled the air. Candle light danced across the table. Raphael looked slightly uncomfortable in the fancy chair. Iris smiled. You look like you want to escape. Maybe a little. She laughed again. Then suddenly her expression softened. Raphael. Yes. I need to say something. Her voice trembled slightly, something she wasn't used to. I like you. Raphael blinked. What? She reached across the table and gently held his hand. I like you. Silence filled the space between them. I think. She inhaled slowly. I think I love you. For a moment, Raphael didn't move. The words hung between them like something fragile that might break if either of them touched it too quickly. He stared at her speechless. Iris felt her heart pounding in her chest. Finally, Raphael let out a small breath. I like you too. But his expression changed almost immediately. His eyes dropped to the table. You already know we come from 2 different worlds. Iris frowned slightly. Raphael continued quietly. You're rich, powerful. People like me, we don't belong in your life. That's not true, Iris said quickly. It is, Raphael replied gently. You live in glass towers. I live in a 1-room apartment. He looked back up at her. And the truth is, I would have really liked to propose to you. Iris blinked. Would have. Raphael gave a small, helpless smile. Yeah. Slowly he lifted his hand. On his finger was a simple silver ring. Not shiny, not expensive, just something small and real. He twisted it off his finger. For a long time I told myself if I ever met someone like you, someone kind, someone strong. He paused, holding the ring between his fingers. This is the ring I would give her. Iris's breath caught. Raphael reached forward and gently took her hand. His voice softened. But I never thought someone like you would choose someone like me. Carefully he slid the small ring onto her finger. Still he looked into her eyes. If you're willing to take the risk, he swallowed slightly. Will you marry me? Tears filled Iris's eyes instantly. Yes. The answer escaped her almost like a whisper. Yes, Raphael. She pulled him into a tight hug across the table. The small silver ring glimmered softly on her hand. Across the restaurant, a waiter smiled quietly as he watched the moment unfold. Because sometimes the most powerful love stories begin with the simplest promises. The silver ring looked almost too simple for her hand. Yet Iris had never worn anything that felt heavier. Heavier not in weight but in meaning. The morning sun filtered through the tall windows of her private mansion as she stared at the ring quietly. Raphael's ring. A man who owned almost nothing had just promised her everything. A slow smile touched her lips, but another thought quickly followed. No, this moment deserved more. Much more. She picked up her phone. Good morning, Miss Iris. Her assistant answered immediately. Prepare the press hall. Pause. The press hall? Yes. The entire media department? Yes. Her assistant sounded confused. Miss Iris, the annual company conference isn't until next month. I know. Silence. Then Iris said calmly, we're moving it to today. Across the city, Raphael woke up to loud knocking on his apartment door. He rubbed his eyes sleepily. Coming. When he opened the door, a large black box sat on the floor. No one was there. He looked around the hallway, empty. Confused, he picked up the box and carried it inside. Inside the box were three things: a perfectly tailored black designer suit, a pair of polished shoes, and a small envelope. Raphael opened the letter slowly. Inside was Iris's handwriting. Raphael, come to the company building today. Wear this and bring the ring. Trust me. He stared at the letter for a long moment, then laughed quietly. That woman. 1 hour later, Raphael stepped outside his apartment building and froze. A long black limousine waited outside. The driver stepped out and opened the door. Mr. Raphael. Raphael blinked. You're here. For me? Yes, sir. He hesitated, then slowly stepped into the car. At the company headquarters, the lobby was packed. Cameras, journalists, employees. Whispers filled the air. What's happening today? Did something big happen? Upstairs, behind the glass walls of the executive floor, Iris watched everything calmly. Her father sat beside her in a wheelchair. His eyes twinkled with curiosity. So, this is the man? He asked quietly. Iris smiled. Yes. Downstairs, the limousine finally arrived. The driver opened the door. Raphael stepped out. The moment he appeared, cameras exploded with flashes. Journalists whispered loudly, "Who is that?" Raphael adjusted his suit slightly. He looked uncomfortable but confident. He walked toward the building entrance. Inside, the main hall had been arranged like a grand stage. Rows of employees sat on both sides, executives at the front. At the far end, a wide stage. Raphael stopped in the center of the room. Then the elevator doors opened. Iris stepped out. The room fell silent. She walked slowly toward the stage. Elegant, calm, untouchable, but her eyes were locked on one person. Raphael. She reached the center of the stage. Ladies and gentlemen, she began. Today's conference is not about business. Murmurs spread across the room. She looked directly at Raphael. It's about courage. The room grew quiet again. This man, she pointed gently toward him, was accused in this building. Raphael lowered his gaze slightly, but he was innocent. Her voice grew stronger. He was humiliated. He was judged. And yet she smiled softly. When I needed help the most, he came anyway. The room listened silently. Then Iris stepped closer to him. And today her voice softened. I want to correct something. She looked at Raphael. You proposed to me with this ring. Raphael's heart skipped. She continued. But I want the world to see the answer. The entire hall held its breath. Raphael slowly reached into his pocket. The small silver ring appeared in his hand. He walked forward, then knelt. Cameras flashed wildly. Employees leaned forward. Raphael looked up at her, his voice steady. Iris, will you marry me? For a moment, time stopped. Then Iris laughed softly, a joyful laugh. You didn't have to do it again. She gently took the ring from him, then slipped it back onto her finger. Yes. The entire hall exploded. Cheers, applause, cameras flashing like fireworks. Raphael stood up. Iris pulled him into a tight embrace. Across the stage, her father wiped his eyes quietly. Your mother would have loved him, he whispered. Down below, the employees watched something none of them expected. Their powerful CEO holding the hand of the man who once carried boxes in their hallway. Proof that sometimes the richest love stories begin in the poorest places. And this one had only just begun. And that is how the man everyone once called a thief became the man who won the heart of the most powerful woman in the city.